What do you wish more people knew about banks?
Well, I think what most people don't think about when they think about banks and what isn't reported in our media is the 8,000 banks in the United States. I think most people think about Bank of America and Citi and Chase and the other very large banks as they're the most prevalent financial institutions in the United States, but they don't think about our 8,000 other community banks.
What would happen if these community banks were to fail?
Well, a failure of a community bank is what we're seeing more and more often now. And for those communities that have a single community bank or just a few financial choices and sources, I think are going to have a much different and potentially harder time finding sources of capital to fund their businesses, whether it's loans or whether it's a Friday afternoon where the bicycle store on the corner has to call up their banker and say, Tom, I know you from church, we went to high school together, you know all my employees, and I'm not going to be able to make payroll today. We need to get all of these people who you know, get them paid this afternoon. I need to draw on my line of credit. That happens all the time. And I think it's going to be much more difficult to deal with New York City, to deal with Charlotte, than to call up your local banker. And I fear that these communities are going to have a lot of struggles, and that's going to be a lot of growing pains for these communities who lose their community banks.
What sort of things do you do for community banks?
Well, unfortunately today, the primary business that we're doing for community banks is helping them get through this financial crisis. And that's dealing with all the regulatory issues that they usually didn't have to deal with. It's also raising capital for many banks. And a lot of banks are having a very hard time doing that. I met with one community banker who told me that his grandfather started the bank. They've been around for 88 years. They survived the Great Depression. They survived World War II. They even survived hippies. They've been profitable for 87 of those 88 years, but can't find anybody to pay 5 cents for a share of his stock. He doesn't know what to do. We have been having some success with some banks raising capital, those who are able to tell a story that differentiates them from the others. Here in Atlanta, we have 75 different banks just in the metro area, and it's very difficult to stand out from the crowd.